So let's first start with a bumper. We replaced this because this actually had RV tow bumpers. Not that they're bad, they're just not what we needed. So we went ahead and got rid of that and got this bumper off of eBay. It was like $160. Still haven't got the winch for it. We got the rock sliders. My kids use them as side steps, but they're actually rock sliders. Now these sliders are actually supposed to be bolt-on, but we went ahead and welded them in. These are $200 on eBay. We got the tire carrier, which my air conditioner would happen to kick on as I'm doing this video. We got the tire carrier. This one right here was $170 on eBay with the trailer hitch and the recovery points built in. We're still rocking a 31 on the back, but we'll upgrade eventually. Got the tire cover, support our men in blue. On the inside here, my wife got these cheap seat covers just for the time being. I love America. Now let's get down to it. So the issues that we had with this Jeep. First off, the air condition wouldn't blow on number 2 or number 3, number 1 or number 2. So that was a resistor blower. So I went ahead and replaced that and got that fixed. The lady that we got this from said, oh, it's a weekend vehicle. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. Everything on it is grand and dan. There's no problems at all whatsoever. You shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Lies. So after I drove it for a little bit, check engine light came on. I went ahead and pulled the code and we looked, and it was a vacuum leak. It was this vacuum line right here on the intake. This one, it cracked right on the corner of the boot. Got it replaced. 30 miles later, check engine light came back on. Vacuum leak. Check this boot, it was ovaled out and it was dry rotted. Replaced it. Check engine light came back on. O2 sensor, bank 2, sensor 2. So we went ahead and replaced that. That is that sensor right down there. It won't let me zoom in, but let me see. Oh, there it is. Right there. That's the sensor. Bank 2, sensor 2. Replaced it. Then we drove, oh, I don't know, 30 miles. Check engine light came back on. So we got the cats replaced because now the new code was saying that the catalytic converters were clogged up and the muffler was completely rusted out. So we went ahead and did the whole entire exhaust system. So let me back up real quick. The resistor motor was like 17 bucks. Those 2 vacuum lines were like $3 a pop. The O2 sensor was $53. Then I got the cat system done. That cost me $734. And then guess what? Check engine light came back on. O2 bank 1, sensor 2. So now it's the other downstream sensor. Went ahead and got that replaced. Check engine light's finally off. Okay, so now what we also did on this guy was we cleaned out the throttle body. We went and cleaned up the throttle body, replaced the intake with the air filter with a cold air intake, and then we also cleaned out the intake manifold. We did a tune-up. We changed out all 6 of the spark plugs, the best spark plugs you could get. We also put synthetic oil in here. You know, the 1030 Castrol synthetic edge. And that's what we did for basic maintenance. Now, the ride was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Terrible, terrible ride. The stock suspension, it was original suspension. So we went ahead and we put a 2.5-inch rough country suspension lift and picked it up 2.5 inches. I was going to run 31s, but then we decided whenever they were actually back ordered, the same kind of tire. Oh, damn, mosquito just went right in my fucking mouth. Oh, dirty bastards. Anyways, we were going to get the 31 by 1150s, but the problem with the 31 by 1150s was they're back ordered until the end of October. So we're like, nah, I don't want to wait that long. So there's the old 31s right there. Anybody wants to buy them, hit me up. I'm selling them super cheap. So anyway, so we went ahead and got these tires and rims. Once I put the lift kit on, I could instantly tell that, well, the suspension was trash, so I wanted to change the shocks and the springs because it was complete garbage. So that's why we did the suspension lift on it. But then after doing the suspension lift is whenever we started getting all kinds of body roll. Like, oh, wow. Didn't matter how you drove, there was probably like almost half a steering wheel worth of dead play. Like you could take the steering wheel and you could turn it You could turn it from here all the way to here, and it was just dead. The steering wheel was completely dead all the way up to there, and it would float and sway all over the road. So, bushing kit. So I bought a bushing kit. We got polyurethane bushings. We bought these for, oh, both O2 sensors were $53. Let me back up. The oil change of the filter was $35. The K&N was $63. The spark plugs were $60. Oh man, that damn mosquito, it really creeps me out. Not creeps me out, but really unsettling feeling. Swallowing a mosquito. Anyways, so we get a bushing kit. Bushing kit was $230. So I replaced the sway bar bushings. I replaced the upper and lower control arm bushings, front and rear. Replaced the track bar bushings, front and rear. Sway bar bushings, front and rear. And that stiffened it up a lot and made it feel tremendously better. We didn't stop there. We also got a steering stabilizer right here for $35. The bushing kit was like $230 with taxes and shipping was $250. So then we got the steering stabilizer. Yay! That really helped out a lot. And I actually have this thing called the Kier. It actually replaces this bushing right here on the tire rod, the drag link in the tire rod. It replaces that one with a metal bushing, so that way your track bar will no longer, your drag link won't roll when you turn your steering wheel before it engages and turns, because it's stiff. Because that bushing, it allows rotation on that track bar, and it gives you a dead spot, which my dead spot's about 1 inch, but I'm gonna put it on there anyways. It's about 20 bucks. I just gotta put it on. So anyway, so we get all this done, and it runs, well, it handles tremendously better. But it doesn't stop there. So now, when I drive, I get a horrible bounce, right? Bam, 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 bam. When you hit 12 to 25, the Jeep's jumping. Like crazy. So, I'm like, ah, great. Anyways, let me go ahead and get the alignment done, because I need the alignment. I get the alignment done. They call me up. Hey, your drag links and your tire rods are shot. We got it as close as we can, but you need to get those replaced to get a really true alignment. All right, cool. Well, if I have you guys do it, how much is it? And I said, well, it's $120 for labor and then the cost of parts. With the alignment and everything, it was going to come up to $350. Well, what if I take it, do the work myself, bring it back to you? We have to charge you again for alignment, $128. So it's actually just cheaper to let them do the labor by $8. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's back up a little bit more. So the bouncing from the U-joints, at this time, we didn't think it was the bouncing from the U-joints, because when I bought these tires and rims, the people that I got them originally mounted and balanced for didn't know what they were doing. So when I was taking the tires out of the truck and it hit the ground, my wheel weights flew out. Lost all my wheel weights on one of my tires, and the other ones weren't on correctly either. So I thought maybe that's where my violent bounce was coming from. So I was in the shop spending $350. I said, you know what, what's another $60? Go ahead and rebalance on my tires. So with taxes and everything, it was supposed to come out to like $440 something. So then they're balancing my tires, and I told them what was going on with the Jeep, and then they put it up on the balancer, and they said all the tires were off balance. And they also said that my front driver was bent. My rim was bent. And that's why it was wobbling so bad, well, bouncing so bad. So they put that in the rear driver, and it was off by 9 ounces. Anyways, it's like half the rim is caked with wheel weights, so it had a real bad vibration coming from it. At least they assumed that's what it was from. Well, I asked them how much to replace the U-joints, because I know what a bad U-joint feels like, and it was a bad U-joint. So so I was hoping it wasn't that. They said $600 replace all the U-joints in the drive shafts. I'll do it myself, if that's what it is. So I drive the Jeep, got it out the alignment shop. Oh, and by the way, I guess they felt bad for me, and I got a break, and they actually gave me the tire balancing for free, because they're like, hey, it sucks, you just got these tires and rims, you haven't even drove them 100 miles, they weren't balanced correctly, and you spent all that money, now you have a bent one, don't worry about the balancing, or we're going to give you a discount. They actually knocked it all the way down to $352. I got a great deal on that. Gonna complain. Now, I could have got a kit on eBay and replaced the drag links, the track bar, the sway bar end links, the upper, lower ball joints, you name it, all of it for like 150 bucks, but that would have been like the cheapest brand. This is at least a decent brand, and the cost that they charged me for parts was the exact same cost that I could have got it from eBay, AutoZone, or O'Reilly's. It was all the same cost. So they didn't mark up the cost of parts. They just got me for the labor, for the alignment and the installation, which is great. I mean, if I have any other mechanical issues I don't want to do myself, I'll definitely bring it back to them. It's Meineke, Bass and Meineke off of 225 in Pasadena Boulevard, if anyone's wondering. They're really good people there. All right, so then I get that done. Now I'm driving home. The bouncing, it's back. Never went away. All right, well, it's not the bouncing, it's probably a U-joint. So I go and buy U-joints. And I replaced the rear U-joints. Oh my God, they're $18 a piece. I paid $41 for 2 of them. I've never fought with U-joints so bad in my entire life. I have never fought with U-joints that bad in my entire life. I was out here for probably 5 hours. What I had to end up doing was taking the ball joint press, pressing it, getting the cap pushed all the way through as far as I could, took a screwdriver, wedged it down in there. You know, you have the hole for the drive shaft on each side. So I pushed it all the way out this way. And what I did is I took it and I stuck it around that little hole around the edge of that flathead, and I hit it with a hammer and popped the cap off finally. And then, I'll admit this, I made a huge mistake, and I'll take this L. So I bought greasable U-joints. This is the first time I've ever installed greasable U-joints. Everyone says do greasable. I've never done greasable. I've always done seal. So I bought greasable U-joints, and I had no idea they were directional. So I installed them both the wrong way. So apparently, common sense would say the greaser would face like away from the vehicle and away from the differential, because they're on an angle, right? If you look at them, right, they poke out a direction on one side. So if you put it where it faces the differential, you can't get it in there to grease it. I had no idea. I never paid attention. I never looked and paid attention in all the years I've been greasing U-joints and all the years that I've had vehicles that I had to service U-joints. So I've always just replaced them with non-greasable ones. You know, cake on my face, right? So don't make the mistake I did. Make sure you pay attention to which way that U-joint goes. You know, you figured you got a 50-50 shot, and I botched both chances on both drive shafts. So I had to press them back out, flip them around, and put them back in. Now it doesn't have no vibration. A lot of people say, oh man, when you go up too big of a lift, oh, as soon as you go above a 2-inch lift, it's 2.5-inch lift, you get horrible driveline vibrations, Well, that also could just be you have bad U-joints, and you've had your U-joint in your drive shaft like this the whole time, and then now you took your drive shaft and you put it at an angle like this, and your U-joints are bad. And you didn't know your U-joints were bad because it was typically lined up really well. And now it's at a slight angle, and now your U-joints are actually having to do what they're designed to do. Well, at least whenever you're articulating, your rear end's dropping and going up, like if you're off-roading and stuff. But now it's just all the time. So I tried doing this before I do a yoke slip eliminator, and guess what? It worked 100%. No vibration at all coming from the drivetrain. So now the check engine light's off, and it's running really, really smooth. The only thing next is to do the front drive shaft U-joints, which there's 3 on the front drive shaft. Do the 2 U-joints on the front axle. Ball joints are still good. And then get the gears replaced with 410s. Now, I really hate it because whenever I'm driving, I can't go into 5th unless I'm over 60, 70 miles per hour. And then whenever I'm around 55, I'm around 2100, 2200 RPMs. I can still feel that damn thing in the back of my throat. I don't know if it's just in my head or if it's actually in there. It's freaking me out. Now, let me say this too. When I got this Jeep, they said absolutely nothing was wrong with it. As soon as I should have drove it before I bought it. It was someone that we knew, and they swore, mutual friends on Facebook and everything like that, and they swore they were good people and there's nothing wrong with it. As soon as I jumped in this thing and I drove off from their house, as soon as I shifted in a second, third, fourth, wonderful, 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 wonderful. That was the synchro gears. So right out the gate, I had to put this thing in the shop, spend $1,400, $1,480, have the transmission rebuild. If y'all have a manual transmission, take it to Transmission Man off of 518 in Pearland. Transmission Man, he's a good dude. Everywhere else told me, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. We have to give you a quote. We have to give you a quote. Bring it in, bring it in. Oh, you're looking at about $500 for us to take it down and break it open and look at it. And that goes towards your labor. Oh, it's about $2,000. Oh, it's about $2,500. Put $28. Oh, I can't give you a quote unless I see it, man. This guy called him up. Hey, how much for this? All right, give me a minute. Gets off the phone, calls it back in 2 minutes. You want the clutch? Yep. I want the clutch too. You're in there, might as well do it. $1,480 with the clutch. I couldn't buy one from AutoZone for that price. And do it myself. Rebuilt transmission, 1 year warranty on parts and labor. Transmission man, 518, pretty good dude, really good dude. So, I bought the thing for $9,000. They wanted $10,500, they took $9,000 for it. All right, I can deal with that. I'm not upset about the transmission because she gave me $1,500 off. Right out the gate, transmission, and then a vacuum line, and then a vacuum line, and then an O2 sensor, and then the cats, and then an O2 sensor. So the whole exhaust system, should I say, the muffler and the cats, the whole entire exhaust system. And then the O2 sensor, then the suspension, then the bushings, then the stabilizer, then the tie rods, then the drag link, then the U-joints. It's just been one thing after another. Now, it looks like I either have an oil pan leak on the front and or I have a harmonic balancer leak, which is the pulley on the bottom. I don't know which one it is, but it's very, very minor. So I'm going to try, after I do this oil change, if it gets worse, I might put some high mileage oil synthetic in there. Maybe it'll swell that seal up and maybe stop it some, because I really don't feel like tackling that. And then now it looks like I have an oil leak on the rear mainsail too, which I wish I would have thought about this. This is my fault, right? Because I didn't think about it when he was doing the transmission. You have the transmission out, you might as well do the rear mainsail. You're already there. Did not think about it, did not cross my mind. I did not even at all come across my mind. So now I think I might have a rear mainsail leak too, because I looked underneath there at my oil and my damn oil pan. I saw a little bitty drop of oil on the bottom. Maybe that's water. Oh, fingers crossed. Touch it. Nope, it's oil. So I get underneath there and look right between my transmission and my oil pan. I got a little bit of wet oil all along the bottom of the transmission, in between the oil pan and the transmission. So that tells me it's a rear mainsail. I'm super upset about this, because if I would have known, not known, but if I would have thought about this while he had the transmission out, I would have told him, hey, go ahead and replace that rear mainsail while you're already in there, man. And I didn't. And that's egg on my face, yolk on my face, whatever you want to say. It has been a nightmare, but we got her going. We got her where I want to be. All I have left is the front U-joints, possibly the ball joints, probably not the ball joints. The front U-joints on the front drive shaft, on the actual axle, and then the 410 gear ratio. And to be honest with you, I think I'm going to ask the guy that's going to do my differentials if he does U-joints. If he does, I'm going to ask him how much to do the front drive shaft and the front axle U-joints, just because you're already in there. Not really in there, but close enough. Oh, and the blower resistor motor too. Don't forget about that one. Got to replace that too. Oh, and my reverse lights don't work. It's not the bulbs. They're not burnt out. Couldn't be that lucky. It's not the fuse. Couldn't be that lucky. So I have to check the relay, and then I have to check the connector down by the transmission on the driver's side, which I'm hoping that's what it is. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, the guy that did the transmission maybe just overlooked it and didn't plug it back in, or maybe it's just not snapped all the way in. But I gotta look at that. If not, that's something else I gotta look at doing. And I did not go with a performance exhaust either. I just went with your standard exhaust, your regular replacement exhaust on it, because to be truthful, I just don't feel like the loud noise is necessary. I mean, it doesn't really give you more power and torque on this. It's a 190 horsepower Jeep. I did the K&N filter because I like the idea of having to only service it every 50,000 miles. But the main thing about it is the exhaust. It's really annoying whenever you're driving down the road and all you hear is and then the flapping from the soft top. So I'd rather not have to deal with that. Anyways, guys, there's my Jeep. Oh, little Jeep of mine. Little Jeep of mine. So for those of you who follow the channel, you already know the story of why I got the Jeep. I'm not going to go into that, but I got this little beauty back here behind me. She was stock, and she's a 2003 Jeep Wrangler TJ, and I'm going to go over everything I did to her and the headache that she has been.